You've probably asked yourself this before. Why do some people seem to move forward so fast, while you feel like you're stuck in the same place? You try, you plan, you even push yourself harder than most people. And still, something invisible keeps holding you back. It's frustrating, isn't it? Here's the truth most people will never tell you. Your progress in life has very little to do with effort, and everything to do with how you see yourself. Carl Jung once pointed to something most people ignore. The speed of your growth is directly tied to your self-image, not your talent, not your opportunities, not your intelligence, your identity. Think about it for a second. How many times did you hesitate when you knew you should act? How many opportunities slipped through your fingers? Not because you couldn't take them, but because you didn't feel ready, or worse, because you didn't feel worthy. Every time you silence your intuition, every time you choose fear over action, you're not just staying still, you're actively slowing your own evolution. And the most dangerous part? You don't even notice it happening. Because the world around you is perfectly designed to keep you distracted, too busy, too entertained, too comfortable. So you never stop long enough to hear that quiet voice inside you, the one that already knows who you could become. The problem isn't that you don't know what to do. Deep down, you already know. The real problem is this: you don't trust yourself enough to follow through, and that's where everything starts to break. Because when your self-worth is low, you begin outsourcing your decisions. You look for validation. You wait for approval. You hesitate until it's too late. And slowly, without realizing, you lose connection with yourself. Jung believed that inside every person there's a deeper intelligence, a part of you that already knows the right direction. But there's another force, just as powerful: your ego, not the confident version people talk about, but the insecure one, the one that constantly asks, what will they think? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? So instead of following your truth, you start following expectations, society's expectations, your family's expectations, other people's timelines. And the more you do that, the further you drift away from who you actually are. This is where most people get stuck for years. Because when you depend on external validation, you give other people control over your life, over your decisions, your direction, your identity. And without realizing it, you start living a life that doesn't even feel like yours anymore. Like you're playing a role, reading from a script, trying to be someone you were never meant to be. And here's the consequence nobody talks about. The further you are from your true self, the slower your life moves forward. Here's where it gets dangerous. Because once you lose connection with who you really are, you don't just feel lost. You start sabotaging yourself, without even noticing. It doesn't look obvious. It looks like procrastination, like overthinking, like waiting for the right moment. But that's not what it is. It's self-rejection in disguise. Every time you say, I'm not ready yet, I need to learn more, I'll start tomorrow, what you're really saying is, I don't believe I'm capable. And your brain listens. It takes that belief and turns it into behavior. So even if you try to move forward, something inside you pulls you back. You hesitate, you doubt, you second-guess everything. It's like driving with the handbrake on. You can push harder, work longer, try more strategies, but you're still stuck, burning energy, going nowhere. And the worst part? From the outside, it looks like you're trying, but internally, you're at war with yourself. Jung talked about this internal conflict, a split between who you are and who you think you're allowed to be. And as long as that conflict exists, progress will always feel slow. Because you're not just trying to grow, you're trying to grow while resisting yourself, and no one wins that fight. So here's the shift most people never make. Your life doesn't change when you try harder. It changes when you change who you believe you are. Read that again, because this is where everything flips. You don't act based on your goals. You act based on your identity. If you see yourself as someone inconsistent, you'll find a way to quit. If you see yourself as someone not disciplined, you'll prove it over and over again, not consciously, but through small decisions. daily habits, invisible patterns, and over time, those patterns become your reality. This is why some people seem unstoppable. It's not because they're more motivated, it's because they've built an identity that supports their actions. They don't wake up asking, "Should I do this today?" They already decided who they are and their behavior follows automatically. But if your identity is built on doubt, on past failures, on what other people told you about yourself, then every step forward will feel like resistance because deep down, you're trying to become someone you don't believe you are. And that creates friction, massive friction. Jung called this the disconnect from the self, your true nature. And the further you move away from it, the heavier everything feels. But the moment you start aligning your actions with your real identity, everything begins to accelerate. But there's something even deeper, something most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Jung called it the shadow, the parts of you don't want to see, the emotions you suppress, the traits you hide, your anger, your insecurity, your fear, even your potential. Yes, sometimes you hide your strengths too. Because standing out feels dangerous, because being seen feels uncomfortable. So instead, you shrink, you stay quiet, you play safe, you become acceptable. But here's the cost no one tells you about. Every part of yourself you reject doesn't disappear. It goes into the shadow, and from there, it controls you, silently. That anger you suppress. It turns into self-sabotage. That fear you ignore, it becomes procrastination. That potential you hide, it transforms into frustration. Because deep down you know you're capable of more. And that creates tension, a constant invisible pressure. It drains your energy, clouds your decisions, slows down your entire life. Jung said something powerful. What you resist not only persists, but controls you. So the more you avoid your shadow, the more power it has over you. But the moment you face it, something changes. You stop fighting yourself. And when that internal war ends, you get your energy back. All of it. And that's when real growth begins. When you stop running from yourself and start facing what you've been avoiding, you unlock something most people never experience. Energy, not motivation, not hype. Real, consistent energy, because you're no longer wasting it trying to hide parts of who you are. Think about it. How much of your life has been spent trying to look right, act right, be accepted? That's exhausting. Constantly filtering yourself, holding things in, pretending, it drains you. But when you start accepting all sides of yourself, not just the good parts, something shifts. You become whole. And when you're whole, you don't hesitate as much. You don't overthink every move. You don't need constant validation, because you're no longer divided inside. Jung believed that true growth begins when you integrate these hidden parts of yourself. Not fix them, not eliminate them, integrate them. Your anger becomes clarity. Your fear becomes awareness. Your pain becomes strength. And suddenly, you're not fighting yourself anymore. You're moving with yourself. And that changes everything, because now, all that energy that was being used to suppress, hide, and resist is available for action, for creation, for growth. This is why some people seem to evolve so fast. They're not wasting energy being someone they're not. They're fully aligned, and alignment is acceleration. Now let's talk about something almost everyone is trapped in. The mask. Jung called it the persona. It's the version of you that you show to the world. The polished version, the acceptable version, the one that fits in. At first, it seems harmless. You adjust a little here, hide a little there, just to be liked, to belong, to avoid judgment. But over time, that mask becomes your identity. And that's where the problem begins. Because the more you identify with who you pretend to be, the further you move away from who you actually are. And when that gap grows, you feel it. That strange emptiness, that feeling that something is off. Like you're living, but not really living. Like you're playing a role in your own life, following expectations that were never truly yours, your parents' expectations, society's definition of success, other people's timelines, and without realizing it, You start building a life that looks right from the outside, but feels wrong on the inside. And here's the truth most people avoid. You cannot grow while pretending, because growth requires truth, and if your actions are based on a version of you that isn't real, then everything you build will feel disconnected, fragile, temporary. That's why no matter how much progress you make, and it never feels like enough, because deep down, you know it's not aligned, and misalignment always slows you down. Every time you say yes, when you really want to say no, you lose a piece of yourself. It seems small in the moment, almost harmless, but it adds up. Every forced agreement, every time you stay quiet to avoid conflict, every time you choose comfort over truth, you're training your mind to believe one thing: my needs don't matter. And once that belief settles in, everything starts to slow down. Your decisions become weaker, your direction becomes unclear, your energy becomes scattered, because you're no longer moving from your center. You're reacting to expectations, to pressure, to fear of rejection. Jung believed that many of our decisions are not conscious at all. They're driven by what he called complexes, deep emotional patterns formed over time. Maybe you have a fear of being rejected, so you say yes to everything. Maybe you fear not being enough, so you overwork and burn out. Maybe you fear being alone, so you stay in situations that drain you. And all of this happens automatically, without awareness, like invisible strings pulling your behavior. But here's where everything starts to change. The moment you begin to develop real self-respect, you start setting boundaries, not aggressively, not out of ego, but out of clarity. You protect your time, your energy, your focus. And for the first time, your life starts moving in a direction that actually feels right. At some point in life, everyone hits a wall, a moment where nothing seems to work, where things fall apart, where you feel lost, confused, maybe even broken. And most people see this as failure, but Jung saw it differently. He believed these moments are not the end, they're the beginning, because pain has a purpose. It forces you to stop, to reflect, to question everything you've been blindly following. Who am I really? Why am I living this way? What am I ignoring? And here's the uncomfortable truth. The life that's falling apart was probably built on something that wasn't fully real. Expectations, fear, approval, not truth. So when it collapses, it's not punishment, it's correction. But this is where most people break, because if your self-worth is built on fragile things, validation, achievements, other people's opinions, then crisis destroys you. You take it personally. You see it as proof that you're not enough, and you retreat. You shrink. You stop trying. But if your self-worth is rooted in something deeper, self-awareness, acceptance, inner respect, then crisis becomes fuel. Instead of breaking you, it rebuilds you stronger, clearer, more aligned. Jung went through this himself, a period of deep confusion, isolation, uncertainty. But it was in that darkness that he found clarity. And the same is true for you. Sometimes, you have to lose who you thought you were to finally become who you really are. So here's the question. What if everything you've been searching for was never outside of you? Not in validation, not in achievements, not in becoming someone else, but in finally accepting who you already are fully. Your strengths, your flaws, your past, your potential. Because the moment you stop fighting yourself, everything changes. Your decisions become clearer, your actions become stronger, your direction becomes undeniable. You stop chasing approval and start building a life that actually feels like yours. And here's the truth most people will never understand. Self-worth isn't something you earn, it's something you recognize. And once you do so, you move differently. You think differently, you act differently, you live differently. Opportunities start to appear, the right people enter your life. Things begin to align in ways that feel almost unreal. Not because you got lucky, but because you finally stopped standing in your own way. So let me ask you one last thing. What would happen if starting today that you treated yourself with the same respect you give to everyone else? How would your choices change, your habits, your standards? Because growth isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be, and it all starts with how you see yourself.